Herzlich willkommen hier aus Unterföhring. Jetzt sind wir alle da. Mittlerweile sind ja schon ein paar Zuschauer da, so wie ich das sehe. 18 Zuschauer sind schon da. Wir haben ja heute angekündigt, wir haben einen Gast bei uns und das ist Ronald Hickland von Creating the Difference, der Inhaber bzw. Erfinder von Creating the Difference, und da sind wir schon bereit. Hi, Ronald. Now we all can see you. How are you? Where are you located
Good.
At the moment?
So at the moment, I'm in Chicago, Illinois.
So, and the corona situation is pretty bad in the States also. It goes over the sea, so no ocean is a border for it. So how is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's bad. I mean, they are shutting lots of things down. Unfortunately, not all of the states are completely shut down yet, but every day there are more states that are shutting down everything. So bowling is pretty much at a standstill in the United States. And, we don't know how long it's going to be, but definitely doesn't appear to be happening, or doesn't appear like it's going to be over anytime soon.
Okay. So it's hopefully the best for all of us. It's a whole world problem. So, I will translate now a little bit. Also Ron ist im Moment in Chicago, Illinois. Ich habe ihn gerade gefragt, wie so die Situation in den Staaten ist mit Corona, und auch er hat gesagt, noch nicht alle Staaten haben zugemacht, aber sie werden es wohl müssen in der nächsten Zeit. Ich hoffe, ihr hört uns auch alle gut. Das müssen wir ja nochmal abtesten. Und und jetzt sind wir eigentlich offen für jegliche Fragen, die ihr so habt. Wir haben ja auch schon mal auf Facebook ein paar Fragen gestellt, beziehungsweise es wurden schon auf Facebook einige Fragen gestellt. Wenn ich so ein bisschen wegschaue, dann ist das immer wegen, weil ich auf Tablet schauen muss, beziehungsweise auf den anderen Bildschirm. Also das ist nicht, weil ich euch nicht anschauen will. Ja, so I explained now to the audience, to all our viewers, what I do. So we start asking questions, whatever they want to know. We already put questions on Facebook so that they already did some questions. And I would say we start with the first questions we had. And die erste Frage, die gestellt wurde, welcher High Road ist der beste High Road deiner Meinung nach? So the first question on Facebook was, what was the best High Road out of the line from the whole High Road line? What do you think?
So I think the original High Road is probably the best, and I'll tell you why. If you look at all the High Roads that have been made, that one is still in the line, first off. And I think as many times as the High Roads have come out, people still migrate back to that original High Road that was made in '08. So I think of all the High Roads, if I was going to get one, which I currently do have that ball, I would make sure that I have an original High Road. That's probably the best one.
Ja. Also Ron sagt, der erste High Road, der originale High Road ist der ihm am besten gefällt, und ich muss mich da auch anschließen, ist auch meiner Meinung nach der beste, dicht gefolgt meiner Meinung nach vom High Road Pearl. So in my opinion the High Road Pearl is pretty close, but the original High Road Pearl, but the High Road is also in my opinion by far the best out of this line. So we have a couple of guys who writing comments, and Fred Fischer says hello to the USA, and they all can hear us good. This is also pretty good. So Marco is also here. Nicole is here. You know them.
Yes.
So we have a question from Maximilian. Maximilian sagt, kann ein bisschen seine Produkte beschreiben? Finde das mit Schleifbit sehr interessant. So he wants to know some of your products, if you can describe them. And I'm also prepared, so I have some here that I can show you, and maybe Ron can tell us something about it. So I started with the first product that you bring out, and that was the purple stuff. So I show it now on the camera too. And what can you tell us about the purple stuff?
So the purple stuff was made to be an anytime use cleaner. It was really designed to allow you to be able to clean your bowling ball while you were bowling and keep your reaction consistent. And for a while there, you were able to do that. Obviously, August of last year, they made a rule change that says you can't do that anymore. But
yeah,
it was definitely a very good product for us. It still is a great ball cleaner. You just have to use it before and after bowling now.
Okay, also im ursprünglichen, ich übersetze das jetzt einfach mal, im ursprünglichen war der Purple Stuff dazu gedacht, dass es ein Reiniger ist, der jederzeit benutzt werden kann, also während dem Spielen und davor und danach. Und nachdem jetzt die Regeländerung von der USB-C gekommen ist, darf er ja nur noch davor und danach benutzt werden und nicht mehr während dem Spielen. Aber es ist trotzdem ein sehr guter Reiniger. So, after the Purple Stuff, the stronger version was the Wow Factor, right?
Correct. So Wow Factor Ball Cleaner, once
I just showed
once they made the rule change,
yeah.
We said, well, since the rules are changing, we can make a stronger product, a much more aggressive product. So Wow Factor Ball Cleaner is a much, much, much stronger version of that Purple Stuff, and it's made for before and after use.
Ja, so, also das Purple Stuff ist praktisch die schwächere Version vom Wow Factor. Wow Factor ist praktisch der stärkere Reiniger, der dafür gemacht war, davor und danach benutzt zu werden, also nicht während dem Spielen. Nachdem das jetzt nicht mehr möglich ist, ist es der stärkere Reiniger. So, we have a lot of people coming in right now. We are like 45 at the moment. You can say hello to all of them.
Yes, hello to everybody. Thank you for joining.
Yeah. The question also from Maximilian was, can you tell us the difference in your TrueCut sanding pads? We also already had the same discussion on the last stream. So what is the difference between your TrueCut pad and a Mirka Abralon pad? So I just translated to German now what I asked. Also ich habe ihn jetzt gefragt, was denn jetzt der definitive Unterschied ist zwischen seinen TrueCut Pads als Schleifpads und dem Unterschied zwischen einem Mirka Abralon Pad, was jetzt oder SIA, was ein normales Pad ist. So, can you?
Yeah, I mean the biggest difference is the TrueCut pads were made to cut bowling balls. So what we did was we took various samples of pads with different grits, and we put them on a ball spinner and by hand and on a resurfacing and tested them until we got the number on the bowling ball that we were looking for. So as an example, the 2000 grit TrueCut pad sands a bowling ball at 2000 grit. And that's where the big difference is between that and the Mirka Abralon. The Mirka Abralon pads, the 2000 grit Mirka Abralon pad does not cut a bowling ball at 2000 grit. In fact, it's a lot higher than that. It's right around 3500 grit when you actually measure it. And we did that because we knew that there were some real big differences between what the bowling balls were coming out from factories and what they were saying and what the pads were saying. So we wanted to kind of bridge that gap with the TrueCut pads, and that's what we ended up with, the product that actually cuts the bowling ball like it says on the pad.
But you also say that the box finish, what the manufacturer put on, is the box finish, or is it not the exact?
No, it's not. So the manufacturer's finish process, if you were to check those balls, they don't match up either, and that's primarily because the pads that they use, the processes that they use, don't allow those pads to be able to cut the bowling ball at what the number it says is. So that's one of the big reasons we talk about when you get a bowling ball, you need to put on a surface on it that you can actually repeat. With the TrueCut pads, you can obviously repeat that. And there's a couple of other benefits to the pads. One of the other benefits is they don't load up like the conventional, like an Abralon pad would. So when you use a TrueCut pad, you're going to be able to sand that ball and get that cut in the ball like it's supposed to be, as opposed to the pad loading up with the dust, and then you lose all the ability to cut.
So what I explained in my last stream was when I have like a 500 grit and I put a 2000 TrueCut over it, it's 2000. When I put because it cutted it. And when it's a 500 Abralon and a 2000 Abralon, it's like 1800 or something. Is that true?
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot higher because the 500 grit Abralon doesn't cut a bowling ball at 500 grit. So let's say the 500 grit Abralon is closer to like 800 or 900 grit. And then the 2000 Abralon, obviously being that 3500 grit, you're going to be a much higher grit than what you think you're going to be.
Okay, so I try to translate it now to German. Also, was er im Prinzip jetzt sagt, ist das, was ich euch letztes Mal schon gesagt habe. Ihr könnt gerne den letzten Stream anschauen, aber ich erzähle es euch jetzt einfach nochmal. Im Prinzip cuttet das CTT Schleifpad das Grid, was auch ankommt. Das heißt, das, was es sein soll. Wenn ich jetzt mit 2000 True Cut schleife, dann ist es 2000 danach. Wenn ich mit einem Abralon-Patch mit 500 zum Beispiel schleife, dann ist es eigentlich nur 800. Das heißt, man hat tatsächlich das Ergebnis, was auch draufsteht und was mit einem anderen Schleifpad sehr viel schwieriger ist. Ich werde ihn jetzt fragen, ob das Ergebnis das gleiche ist, egal ob man einen Spinner benutzt oder die Hand. So, do you think is the finish, does it matter if it's by hand or with the ball spinner?
So what we tell people is if you do it by hand, it's obviously not going to be as consistent as you can with the ball spinner. But in general, we've got the pads tuned so that you can do it by hand with the 2000 grit, and you're going to end up with the 2000 grit. You do it with the ball spinner, you're going to end up with the 2000 grit on a ball spinner. And we actually have lots of videos where we show us doing that. We show it live and in real time, doing it by hand as well as doing it on the ball spinner. There is one caveat to that. The caveat is the P5000D pad. That's a very, very unique pad in the fact that if you use it by hand, you can only get to 4000 grit. You leave a 4000 grit finish on the bowling ball. If you use it on a ball spinner, you can get it to 5000 grit. And that's why it's called P, which stands for polishing, which is 5000 grit. The D stands for dual, because if you use it by hand, it's 4000. Use it on a ball spinner, it's 5000. It's the only pad that allows you to get two different grits depending on how you use it. The rest of the pads, whether you do it by hand or on a ball spinner, you're going to get very close to that grit that's written on the pad.
Okay. So at the end of the day, you just save steps and you get the finish that you want. Correct?
Correct, especially in the lower grits. When you get to that higher grit, right? So like if your bowling ball is finished 500, 1000, 2000, obviously you can skip right to 2000 and get to that finish. If your bowling ball, let's say your bowling ball is finished 3000. So if you're going to finish your ball to 3000, you would want to hit the ball with 2000 first to get whatever below it was on the ball off, then 3000 grit, then you're done.
Okay. Also er sagt im Prinzip, dass dadurch, dass man das Finish bekommt, ist es einfacher und man kann es mit Spinner benutzen und mit der Hand und bekommt dasselbe Ergebnis. Das einzige Pad, wo es nicht so ist, wo man nicht dasselbe Ergebnis bekommt, ist beim 5000, it's 5000D and P, right?
P5000D.
Korrekt. Das heißt, wenn man es mit dem Spinner verwendet, erreicht man die 5000 Grit. Und wenn man es mit der Hand verwendet, kann man nicht höher kommen als 4000 Grit. So, we have a couple of questions. So, I see one question now. Fred fragt, meine Frage für meine Freundin als Beginner, wonach richtet sich das Ballgewicht bei einem Anfänger? So, the question from Fred is how to choose the ball weight for beginner.
So, I mean, what we tell people initially when you're starting, we say it's kind of a rough guideline, but we say 10% of your body weight. So in theory, if you're a beginner, you're a kid, and you're 120 pounds, maybe a 12-pound ball. What I like to do on top of that, because obviously the balls only go up to 16, right? That's as heavy as they get. And most people, as they get older and older, they are more than 160 pounds. So I tell people, I say, what you should do is, if you're going to start out, you get a ball that feels comfortable in your hand, not too heavy to where like it feels like it's swinging you, but to where you feel like you can swing it. And then what I would suggest you do is try to go bowl a couple of games. If you bowl a couple of games with, say, a regular house ball just to see, and at the end of those couple of games you're tired, the ball's probably a little bit heavy. If you're not tired at all, then you may need to be able to go up. That's when you would go to a pro shop and have the pro shop fit you and get you the right weight, because they're going to be able to say, okay, if the ball was too heavy for you, we put a bowling ball in your hand that fits your hand, it's going to feel a little bit lighter. So let's, as an example, if you had a 13-pound ball and it felt heavy, but you're kind of like, I got through the two games, but I was a little bit heavy. The pro shop may be able to fit the ball to your hand, where that 13-pound ball won't feel as heavy because you won't have to squeeze it to hold on to it. So it's real important, I say, to at first get you a real rough baseline, with a house ball, but then go to a pro shop, because they're going to be able to tell you what the exact right weight's going to be. Because when the bowling ball fits your hand, it's going to feel a lot better.
Ja. So, also er sagt, für Anfänger das Ballgewicht mal grob 10% des Körpergewichts, aber der Ball wird natürlich leichter, wenn er passt. Also wir sagen auch im Pro-Shop normalerweise vom Hausball, wo die Löcher sehr klein sind, sollte man 1 bis 2 Pfund bzw. 3 Pfund schwerer werden, und Frauen sind selten unter 12 und Männer sind selten unter 14. Das ist so mal die Grundregel. Das hat er jetzt nicht gesagt, das sage ich jetzt einfach mal als Pro-Shop-Betreiber. der sich damit auskennt. Und so, thank you for answering this. Also Fred, ich hoffe, das hat dir geholfen, beziehungsweise deiner Freundin. So Maximilian asked, are there any informations about big bowling?
So what I would tell you at this point, big bowling is, they do have bowling balls that are approved from USBC. They are currently making bowling balls, and they did have some bowling balls out at the World Series. I don't necessarily know when they're going to release them to the public, but they are legitimate, they are real, and they've got real products that are actually out. So it'll be interesting to see with the whole Corona thing, kind of how that plans out. But they definitely are a real company, and they definitely have made some bowling balls.
So das Big Bowling, so they played at World Series with balls there. They had balls at World Series.
Yeah, they had balls at World Series. Yep.
So they PBA approved.
Mm-hmm. The balls are PBA approved as well as USBC approved.
Also Big Bowling wird kommen mit Bällen, ist auch PBA approved, das kostet ja auch ein bisschen, so that's definitely not cheap to get PBA approved.
No, you're talking about a substantial investment of cash to be PBA approved. And as far as what we're aware of is that all of us, including us, we had to sign multiple year deals with the PBA. So they've got a very large investment with the PBA.
Ja, also Big Bowling wird kommen, das ist eine Ballfirma, eine neue Ballfirma, die, soweit ich weiß, unabhängig ist und die auf der PBA schon gespielt wurde. Man wird jetzt natürlich sehen, wie das ganze Corona jetzt ausging und wie das, wie sich eine neue Firma praktisch da durchsetzen wird. So, ich werde ihn jetzt nochmal fragen, ob Big Bowling in irgendeinem Zusammenhang mit einer anderen Firma wie Brunswick oder Storm steht. Mal schauen. Do you know if Big Bowling is a single company or is it just with Brunswick or Storm or whatever? Is it connected with them?
No, Big Bowling is their own company. They're their own company and they're out of Washington. They're their own company though, yep.
Ja, okay. Also es ist eine eigene Firma. So, erstmal jetzt Hallo an mittlerweile 53 Zuschauer. Wir haben heute hier ein Live-Q&A mit Ron Hickland, Inhaber von Creating the Difference und Founder von Creating the Difference. Und wenn ihr Fragen habt, einfach unten in den Chat reinschreiben. Mittlerweile sind ja, wie gesagt, doch schon ein paar Leute da. Ich gehe jetzt mal auf die zweite Frage in unserem Facebook-Post. Ist es richtig, dass man seine Bälle in den Taschen drehen soll, damit sie nicht kaputt gehen? So the question on Facebook was, is it true that balls get cracked when you don't move it in the bag when you don't use it?
So I would tell you that there's several different ways and reasons why bowling balls crack. I've heard this theory that you have to move them around. Honestly, out of all the studying and testing that we've done, I don't know that necessarily plays out. I can tell you what I do know that does play out. One, sharp holes. If you have your bowling balls drilled and the holes are very, very sharp, that creates a weak point, which will and can help bowling balls crack. That's one. Two, leaving your bowling balls exposed to light. Believe it or not, UV light is actually not good for bowling balls. It helps to cure the resins a little bit faster, and that typically tends to be uneven curing, right? Because some of it's exposed to the light, some of it isn't. That uneven curing can also help to lead to cracks. And then last but not least, the reactive bowling balls that have plasticizer in them, the plasticizer drying out. So the drying out of the plasticizer will also help that bowling ball to become brittle. Once it becomes brittle, it's way more prone to crack. So some things that you can do to slow and stop that from happening are one, make sure that your holes are beveled. Two, keep your bowling balls when they're not being used, obviously stored somewhere where there's not a lot of light. And then three, and this is the thing that most people don't think about, putting your bowling ball in some sort of bag, if you will, some sort of plastic bag, and then maybe wrapping it up and setting it on top of it to keep the bowling ball from drying out too. Those are three things that I would suggest that you do to keep your bowling ball, to help mitigate your bowling ball from cracking. The moving it around is something that I've heard, but I've never seen that have any sort of impact, and it doesn't, and the logic behind that doesn't hold a lot of weight to me either.
So I try to translate now. So first was bevel the holes. So als erster Punkt war, dass man keine zu scharfen Kanten hat in den Löchern, weil das kreiert einen Schwachpunkt im Ball. So second was what was second?
The second one is the light. You want to minimize exposure to light.
Also so wenig Lichtzufuhr wie möglich, weil das Licht praktisch die Weichmacher rauszieht, aus welchen Gründen auch immer. And the third was to put it into a plastic bag to save the...
Correct.
Der dritte Punkt ist, er würde empfehlen, wenn man länger nicht benutzt, in eine Plastiktüte rein und sie dann verstauen. Also er sieht keinen Grund darin, den Ball zu bewegen, damit er nicht platzt. Es liegt mehr daran, dass er vor Licht geschützt werden muss und die Löcher scharf abgesendet sind und beziehungsweise abgerundet sind und der Ball, wenn man ihn länger nicht benutzt, in einer Plastiktüte eingewickelt ist. So thank you, I think that helps. So now we have another question. Ich spiele 14er Bälle. Gibt es eine natürliche Grenze, was Pinschnitt betrifft? Spiele gute Schnitte, aber stecke immer zwischen 210 und 218 fest. So Ronnie asked, he plays 14-pound balls. Is there a natural border for average, for pin average? Because he plays okay, but he's most of the times between 210 and 220, and he's pretty stick there. So what is your opinion?
So I don't know that. I mean, ball weight can have an impact on score on average. Obviously, the majority or the most popular weight is 15-pound, but it obviously isn't all weight driven, right? Because if weight was the key to scoring, then everybody would throw 16-pound balls, and that's not the case. So I think it becomes more just looking at some of the other factors that come involved when you're trying to get to that next level. Spare shooting, making sure that you've got a spare ball, something that goes really, really straight is something that every bowler should really have in their bag. And then besides that, making sure you understand ball motion, making sure you understand lane play, making sure you understand ball surface. These kind of things are the things that help get you from that 210 to 220 to 230 average bowler status. I mean, we look at bowlers that average 230. I mean, you're talking that you strike roughly about 7 times a game, which means that you're in the right part of the lane. You're playing in a part of a lane that gives you a lot of area, a lot of miss room, right? And then obviously you're not missing very many spares. So those are the keys I think that a bowler needs to get to go from that 210, 220 to 230 average. And then really none of those involve necessarily ball weight.
Yeah. But I also think under 40 pounds is pretty hard to get the ball reaction you need. So Ron sagt, dass im Prinzip es ziemlich egal ist vom Gewicht, also 14, 15 oder 16, es gibt da eigentlich keine Grenzen im Schnitt. Er sagt aber auch, die Basis für einen höheren Schnitt ist ganz klar Speerspiel und das Verstehen von Ballreaktion, also Ball Motion, und das sind eigentlich die Keys, um besser zu werden. Also ich denke auch, dass im Prinzip der große Punkt das Erkennen von Ballreaktion ist. Also das sehe ich so. Und er auch. So, Alex asks, wann besteht die Möglichkeit, die Bälle in Deutschland zu testen, spielen? Mit welchem Brand konnte man die Bälle vergleichen? Ich gehe mal davon aus, dass du das jetzt von Big Bowling meinst. So, Alex asks, do you know when it's happening to come overseas? So here. And do you have an opinion about the rolling of the balls? Is there any similarity to any other brand?
So in terms of when is it going to be available worldwide, I'm not sure about that yet. I'm not so sure that, I know for a fact that nobody domestically has the balls per se either. I know that they've got some staffers that have balls. I know they had balls at World Series, but I don't think that they've formally announced when they're going to actually sell balls to the general public. So in terms of when they are going to get to Germany, I'm not quite sure yet. CTD has a staffer by the name of Ryan Simonelli, who is also on staff with Big Bowling, and he's very, very complimentary of the balls. He says that the bowling balls do not roll like other brands that are in the market, which to me that makes sense because they're making them themselves, which means they're going to be different somehow. And he says that the bowling balls roll really, really well. So I think we're just gonna have to wait and kind of see how that pans out. Obviously, yeah. I think everybody's kind of anxious to kind of see, but nobody quite knows all the details yet.
Okay. Also die Big Bowling Bälle, man weiß eigentlich nicht, wann sie kommen, weil sie sind auch in den USA noch nicht wirklich erhältlich. Also wir werden sehen, wann das sein wird. Er denkt auch, dass irgendwann nach Corona wird man sehen, wann die Bälle kommen. Vom Laufen her kann er auch noch nicht viel sagen. Er weiß nur, beim CTD Creating the Difference Stuff ist Ryan Simonelli. Und der ist ja auch unter Staff-Vertrag bei, hieß es Stafford Big Bowling Ryan, right?
Mhm.
Und er sagt halt, dass die Bälle anders laufen wie bei anderen Brands, einfach aus dem Grund, weil sie selber hergestellt werden. Das heißt, sie werden nicht irgendwo produziert, sondern sie haben eine eigene Fabrik. Und für ihn macht es Sinn, dass sie dann anders laufen wie die anderen Bälle. Aber man wird dann definitiv sehen, was passiert, wenn es soweit ist. Jetzt sage ich erstmal Hallo zu Bruno wieder und Thomas. Stefan ist auch da. Servus. So plenty of people are here. 54 people at the moment. Es freut uns sehr, dass ihr alle da seid und unserem Gespräch folgt. Thomas hat gefragt, was ist seine Meinung zum Pitch Purple also generell seine Meinung und ich muss mir die Frage mal auf Englisch schnell durchlesen. So the question is, what's your opinion on the Storm Pitch Purple in general and in addition to an arsenal with the Storm Pitch Black?
So I think Pitch Purple is a much stronger ball than Pitch Black. We actually did some testing down at Kegel. I think it was the end of January, where we took Pitch Purple and we did some testing with it, and we've done Pitch Black in the past. I think Pitch Black is a much milder version. Both those balls, by the way, are not. I mean, they say they're urethane, but they're really weak reactive balls. They're not what I would consider to be true urethane balls, like a Purple Hammer or like a Black Hammer. Those are conventional true urethane balls. But anyway, I think the balls definitely are good when they are in play. I think these, what I'm going to call the newer versions of the urethane balls, the Pitch Purple is a much more usable ball for the average player. So whereas in a typical league environment where you have a lot more oil and it's kind of, in a Christmas tree type shape, you don't really need a true urethane ball. That won't give you any hitting power. But a Pitch Purple, being what it is, can be used by the average league player. So I think that it's got more usability than, say, a Pitch Black or than, say, some of the other true conventional urethane balls for the average consumer.
Okay. Also die Frage jetzt nochmal auf Deutsch übersetzt von Thomas war, was seine generelle Meinung über den Storm Pitch Purple ist und was die Meinung ist über wenn der Storm Pitch Black auch noch im Arsenal ist dazu. Also Ron hat jetzt gerade gesagt, dass im Prinzip der Pitch Purple deutlich stärkere Version ist vom Pitch Black. Und er sagt, dass sowohl der Pitch Black als auch der Pitch Purple kein richtiges Urethan sind. Wobei das der Hersteller draufschreibt, aber nicht das klassische Urethan. Also es kann ein Urethan-Material sein, aber nicht der Klassiker, wie jetzt zum Beispiel beim Black Hammer oder beim Purple Hammer. Also er sagt, dass es für den normalen Spieler der Pitch Purple der Ball ist, der viel öfter genutzt werden kann als jetzt zum Beispiel der Pitch Black, weil du da doch mehr Rotation brauchst. So, Thomas, ich hoffe, damit ist deine Antwort da für deine Frage. Also ich glaube auch, dass der Pitch Purple der Ball ist, der deutlich mehr verwendet werden kann als der Pitch Black. So, Fred asked another question. Welche haushaltsalltäglichen Mittelmöglichkeiten gibt es, den Ball zu entölen, ohne ihn zu beschädigen? Aufrechterhaltung, Wirkung, Grip und so weiter. Wenn der Ball schwitzt, hat das auch einen positiven Effekt. So, the question is, what you can use at home to clean and soak out the oil without making the ball mein Englisch ist wieder phänomenal. My English is phenomenal. So
your English is way better than my German, so
yeah, that's maybe true. So what can he do at home to clean the ball without hurting the ball?
So a couple of things, right? So from a product standpoint on our end, using a product like Wow Factor Ball Cleaner is a great start. It's going to be able to get the bowling ball clean. But more importantly, if you're trying to get the oil out, we actually have a product that does that too. It's called the Clear. It's a bowling ball soak. You actually put your bowling ball in it and let it sit there for an hour. When you do that, the bowling ball the Clear actually goes into the bowling ball and pulls the oil out of the bowling ball. The best part about that product is it leaves a tackifier in the bowling ball, which will make your bowling ball tacky, which will improve the performance of the bowling ball. So from an at-home standpoint, that product called the Clear from Creating the Difference is probably the product that you'd want to use to be able to rejuvenate, revive, get your bowling ball back to that initial.
Okay.
Get the oil out of the ball.
Okay. And Also, I will translate it now. So, also es ist im Moment, sagt er, haben sie auch ein Produkt dafür, das heißt The Clear. I don't actually see the product yet, but you will show me soon, I'm pretty sure. Und mit dem Ball kann man eben das Öl, mit diesem Mittel kann man das Öl entfernen, auch zu Hause. Und dadurch bleibt der Ball auch ein bisschen griffig und ja, ich hoffe, damit ist es beantwortet. Is it also a positive thing when the ball puts out oil? When it's in heat, for example, in the car, is there something positive?
So let's talk about that. So the bowling ball, when it absorbs oil, it only absorbs the oil in the track area.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But when your bowling ball sweats in the car or in the heat, the whole ball sweats. So really what's happening is you're pulling out oil, but you're also pulling out plasticizer. And that's not necessarily a good thing. I kind of liken it to like a chemotherapy type treatment where you do get rid of the bad stuff, right? But you also attack the good cells when you do a chemotherapy. It attacks both the good and the bad cells. Heat's the same way. Heat attacks and draws out the oil, but also draws out the plasticizer too. And drawing out the plasticizer will decrease the lifespan of your bowling ball.
Okay, also wenn der Ball schwitzt, grundsätzlich ist das, er vergleicht das wie mit einer Chemotherapie für einen Bowlingball, weil im Prinzip die schlechten Sachen rausgehen, aber auch einige gute. Also Fakt ist, dass Öl nur eingesaugt wird auf dem Laufring und nicht auf dem Rest des Balls, aber wenn der Ball schwitzt, schwitzt der ganze Ball. Und da gehen eben Weichmacher noch mit raus und deswegen ist es zwar gut, dass das Öl rausgeht, aber es ist schlecht, dass die Weichmacher rausgehen und deshalb wird die Lauffähigkeit bzw. die Haltbarkeit des Balls weniger werden. Also Fred, ich hoffe, deine Frage ist damit beantwortet. Hi Tyler. So, Marcel hat eine Frage. So, what do you think about the U-Motion?
Oh, so U-Motion. I actually like that ball. I threw it at a demo, and I think it's the same kind of thing like Pitch Purple, where it's a much more usable urethane bowling ball as opposed to the conventional urethane bowling balls. That bowling ball hooks.
Mhm. Okay. Irgendwie ist jetzt die Verbindung weg. Can you hear me? Now can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. So now can you say it again because the connection?
Oh, sure. Sure. So I think the U-Motion is like the Pitch Purple and like some of the other kind of newer urethane bowling balls, and the fact that it's more usable for the average consumer than some of the older urethane bowling balls, because that bowling ball, it does hook in a little bit of oil, and I think that's kind of the direction you're seeing the manufacturers kind of go. They're calling them urethane, but they're really mild reactive balls is what they are, but nonetheless they are more usable for the average consumer.
Yeah, because of the original urethane balls are too weak for the today conditions, right? And for the average player.
If you go grab a blue hammer, you go grab an original blue hammer, you go grab some of the original urethane balls and throw them in league today, they're too mild, unless you have, a 550 RPM rev rate like you see the guys using on tour. The guys on tour can use it because their rev rate's so high, but most of us are nowhere near there. And you try to use those kind of bowling balls and they won't strike. You can't create any angle with them.
Ja, also er sagt über den U-Motion dasselbe wie bei den Pitch Purple. Der ist im Prinzip ein stärkerer Reaktivball und er denkt, dass die Hersteller auch immer mehr in diese Richtung gehen würden, weil die Masse der Spieler, der normalen Spieler, einen normalen Rotanball nicht bewegen können oder keine Winkel damit erzeugen können, um hohe Ergebnisse zu kriegen. So, thank you. So, Clement said this is not a yellow from the egg, but it goes. This is a German fun. He makes fun with me. So, Thomas fragt, gibt es Bestrebungen, die Haltbarkeit der Bälle bezüglich der Laufeigenschaft zu erhöhen? Do you know if there is a thing to make the balls longer durable or longer working at a high level? how to say it. I don't know the exact English, but I hope you understand what I mean.
Yeah, so I can tell you from a durability standpoint, balls that are thicker shell don't have that outer core, so to speak.
Yeah.
They are going to be more durable. Balls like high roads are durable. Let me ask you the question: have you ever had a high road crack?
No, not high road.
But isn't that kind of weird, right? I mean, the high road's been out since 2008, so you've never had a high road crack. Well, yeah. It's because it's thick shell. It's because it doesn't have that outer shell. So that's one way to increase durability. Longevity, that's a different question. So how long the ball lasts, completely different question. I think one of the downsides to reactive balls that are aggressive is that you're giving up longevity. And the only way you can continue to bring that back or to fight that is through getting the ball de-oiled, using the clear, keeping the right surface on the ball. Those kind of pressure are the only pressure you have available to increase the longevity of a bowling ball at this point in time.
Okay. Also, so I translate now, so I try to translate. Also es geht zum Beispiel um die Haltbarkeit jetzt von einem Ball, dass er nicht bricht und so weiter. Ist mit Sicherheit ein Weg wieder zurück zum Zweiteiler, wie es jetzt zum Beispiel ein High Road ist oder ein Honey Badger. Honey Badger is also 2 pieces, right?
Yep.
Das würde die Haltbarkeit erhöhen, dass die Bälle nicht brechen. Um die Laufeigenschaften zu verlängern, muss man den Ball einfach pflegen. Das heißt, Pflege ist A und O. Oh, jetzt ist gerade die Verbindung, glaube ich, weg. Aber there's a poor network connection. Also, aber ich mache jetzt einfach mal weiter. Lasst euch nicht aufhalten von meiner Nervosität, wenn er jetzt weg ist gerade. Aber kommt gleich wieder. Das heißt, er sagt ganz klar, die Pflege für einen Ball verlängert die Haltbarkeit der Bälle. Und ja, jetzt schauen wir mal, was hier los ist. Reconnecting. Ich hoffe, ihr hört mich noch alle. Ja, ich sehe es ja. Ja, ihr hört mich noch alle. Ja, ich hoffe, er wird bald wieder antworten, Marco, weil irgendwie ist die Connection weg. Ich stelle jetzt mal ganz kurz rüber. Hi, ich hoffe, ihr hört mich. Jetzt probiere ich gerade nebenbei, das wieder probiere ich es wieder anzustellen. Entschuldigt mich bitte. Mal schauen, ob es jetzt gleich wieder funktioniert. Aber ich hoffe, ihr hört mich alle. Wenn ja, das sind die Probleme beim Live. Ich mache einfach mal weiter. Manuel is burning like a fackel. Ja, das stimmt. Er hat leider keine Verbindung im Moment. Ich muss ihm ganz kurz schreiben, Entschuldigung. Sekunde. Jetzt. Er hat mir gerade auf dem Handy geschrieben, eine Sekunde. Das ist natürlich wahrscheinlich gerade der Worst Case für einen Livestream. Aber das kriegen wir schon alle hin. Schauen wir mal. Ich versuche nochmal eine Verbindung zu bekommen. Aber ich weiß noch nicht, wie wir das lösen. Aber irgendwie werden wir das schon hinkriegen. Gib mir noch 1-2 Minuten Zeit. Ich werde ihm jetzt nochmal schreiben. Er soll mich anskypen, wenn er wieder Connection hat. Hallo, Grüße von BC300 in die USA. Ja, er hört uns leider im Moment nicht. Also hören tut er uns bestimmt, beziehungsweise sehen auf dem anderen Ende. Weil er wird mit Sicherheit gleichzeitig auf seinem Handy zuschauen. Okay. So. Also, ich versuche einfach die Fragen weiter kurz zu beantworten. Mike von den Radflüsterern, hi. Kann man die TrueCut Sanding auch für polierte Bälle verwenden? Ja, kann man. Weil dann wird der Ball halt matt. Ron ist gleich wieder da. Er arbeitet gerade an seiner Internetverbindung und hofft, dass er das so schnell wie möglich hinkriegt. Er hat mir gerade geschrieben. Also habt noch ein bisschen Geduld. Aber das kriegen wir schon rum, haben wir ja sonst auch immer rumgekriegt. Die Zeit. Und leider, wenn es live ist, dann hat man immer mal wieder solche Probleme. Ja, ich bin ruhig, Alex, ich bin ruhig. Mike Risch, meinst du, ob man generell polierte Bälle senden kann? Klar. Ob du mit den Pads das polierte Finish wiederherstellen kannst? Auch das. Im Prinzip hat der Marco gerade die Antwort von Mike beantwortet. Also nur kurz, Marco ist im Prinzip Inhaber von Creating Difference in Europa. Deswegen kann er da auch sehr fundiertes Wissen aufweisen. Also das ist auch das, was Ronald vorher erklärt hat mit dem 5000er Pad. Kann man mit einem Spinner eine Politur erzeugen, ohne sie zu polieren. Okay, jetzt sagte Ron gerade, es scheint wieder zu funktionieren. Moment, ich probiere es mal. Okay, sieht so aus, als ob wir wieder dran sind. Dann gehen wir wieder zurück. There we go. There you are.
Yes.
So I forgot where we were, but it worked out. I got a little nervous for 1 or 2 minutes, but now it's okay. I hope you don't crash your room.
Yeah, I know, right? Something happened with the internet. It just went out.
Okay, but
I think we're good now.
Yeah, we are back. So, Mike just asked a question, but I think you already answered it. Can you use the TrueCut sanding pads also on polished balls? That's the question.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously they're going to sand the bowling ball, but absolutely you can use it on polished. You can use it on pearl balls, solid balls. It works on any type of bowling ball. The TrueCut sanding pads were designed specifically for bowling balls, and that's one of the things that I really want to press home to people. These pads are not available anywhere else, and what I mean by that is the grits that we have are custom specific for bowling. So you may find other pads that say 2000 grit on them, but they are not going to be the TrueCut pads. The TrueCut pads are specifically designed, and the grits that are on the pads are specifically designed to cut bowling balls at the number that's on the pad.
Okay. So. Also, wie wir schon gesagt haben, natürlich kann man jederzeit polierte Bälle machen und diese TrueCut Sanding Pads sind auch speziell designt für Bowlingbälle. Das heißt, sie sind nicht für irgendwas anderes, wie zum Beispiel die Milka Pads für Lackierbedarf, sondern sie sind tatsächlich für Bowlingbälle und man bekommt auch das Finish, was draufsteht. Und ja, Maxi, sind vorrätig. So, I will go to the third question on Facebook, what we had. Also ich komme zur nächsten Frage, die wir auf Facebook hatten. Das war, ab wann sollte man als Anfänger mit dem Spielen eines Reaktivballs beginnen? So the question is, when should be a beginner start to play with a reactive ball?
So I think, with the current available products and the amount that exists, you can start with the reactive ball immediately, really. There are some lower price point reactive balls that exist on the market. I mean, Twists come to mind immediately. Rhinos are like that. Storm makes some low-end balls as well. So I think you can start with the reactive ball immediately and just start working on the fundamentals. You know, the fundamentals of taking the right amount of steps, of having the arm swing timed with those steps properly. I think you can start. I think there's not really an advantage to start with the polyester or plastic ball anymore. There used to be, but I don't think there is anymore now. You can start with the reactive ball, get your favorite color, even get your favorite scent, and then go out there and have some fun.
Okay. So Also er sagt im Prinzip, er sagt, man könnte theoretisch jederzeit mit einem Reaktivball beginnen. In der heutigen Zeit hat man so viel Auswahl an Low-End Reaktivbällen wie der Brunswick Twist, Brunswick Rhino, Tropicals und viele andere. Das ist für ihn, früher gab es den Vorteil, wenn man mit einem Plastikball anfängt, aber er sagt, heutzutage ist es weniger so. Wir bei uns im Shop handeln das ein bisschen anders. Wir sagen, Plastikball brauche ich so oder so zum Räumen. Das heißt, über kurz oder lang wirst du dir immer einen Plastikball kaufen müssen. Das heißt, fang gleich mit dem Plastikball an und dann geh rüber zum Reactive Ball. What we do in our shop, we tell the people to start with a polyester ball because they need it anyways. They need the plastic ball anyway for the spare shooting. So that's what we do with in our shop. But there are so many opinions about this. So.
Yeah.
Dann, hallo Sandro, schön dich zu lesen. Und das, was du verpasst hast, kannst du ja später nochmal nachholen. Thomas fragt, ja, gut, Frage gut beantwortet, ging darum, ob der Pitch Purple als Abstufung mit Pitch Black Sinn macht. Thomas, ich weiß, Zweihand-Lefty, nicht so schnell. So, his question, the guy with the Pitch Purple and the Pitch Black, he wanted already to know if it makes sense to have like two balls with the Pitch Black and Pitch Purple to work on after each other. So, and you answered this because the Pitch Purple is a little bit stronger, and if it's too strong, then you go back to Pitch Black. Right?
Right. Yep.
Ja.
Yep.
So, wenn ihr Fragen habt, einfach was reinschreiben. Jetzt könnt ihr alles, was ihr wissen wollt über Reinigung von Bowlingbällen, egal. But ich werde jetzt mal Ronald fragen, wie es denn zu dem ganzen Creating the Difference gekommen ist. So Ronald, how everything comes with Creating the Difference. I know that you are used to design bowling balls and now you changing this, and why was it cleaning bowling balls?
Yeah, so, I did used to design bowling balls. I designed bowling balls for roughly 14 years. I designed 4 different brands, Ebonite, Hammer, Columbia, and Track. And then got let go just because of the economy was not so great. And then it was like, well, what are we going to do next? And it was like, well, we can help bowlers really by doing a lot of education. So the company actually started out as an educational company, and is to this day an educational company. But we wanted to offer some products to the bowlers as well, and we knew cleaning was a good way to kind of get in without ruffling a lot of feathers. We didn't want to create any waves with the other manufacturers. We wanted to kind of help support them in the bowling ball side of things, while allowing us to kind of find a spot for us. And the bowling ball cleaner was a good spot. The manufacturers kind of embraced us in doing that, and from there we just kind of began to grow our brand and teach people how to maintain their equipment, how to take care of their equipment, and how to become better bowlers through a lot of the education that we do. And that's kind of where we're at to this day. We've got products and services that help to make and help the bowler become a better player overall.
Ja, okay. Habt ihr das alle verstanden oder soll ich alles übersetzen? Also es wäre schön zu wissen, wenn I just ask if I need to translate everything or is it just staying alone. Wäre interessant zu wissen. So, I also, when you were here a couple of weeks ago, you gave me a pad. This is this one. The new pad you just released in the States. What is it? You told me that's a game changer.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We're pretty excited about that product. So it's actually called the Dry Pad Pro. And one of the big problems that bowlers face, that's kind of what we do, like to solve problems. So one of the big problems with the rule change is you can't get a lot of the black marks, a lot of the scuff marks off the ball. The traditional pads and even the leather pads, they're not built to remove those, and you really can't get them off. So then your ball gets this big, nasty black spot on it, and you can't clean it off. So we developed a pad that actually will allow you to break up that scuff mark. The blue side is actually kind of is a microfiber material to wipe off the oil like you'd expect, but the gray side is really, really unique. The gray side actually has some bristles in it that actually kind of go in there, and when you rub it against the ball, it will break up the scuff mark, but it won't scuff or change the surface of the ball. And that was the key. Obviously, you can't legally change the surface of the bowling ball during competition. So we've got a unique product here that will wipe off oil on both sides. But on the gray side, like you showed in the pad, that side is also specifically meant to break up and remove scuff marks. And we are seeing an unbelievable amount of success with that product. We just launched it right before this whole coronavirus thing happened, and we were selling them like hotcakes. And then obviously with the coronavirus thing happening, surprisingly, we still are selling them, just not at the same clip. But that product is very, very unique. No one else has a product like it, and it's very different. We're really excited to be able to get that in the hands of a lot of bowlers.
Okay. Also, das kurz zu erklären, so I translate now. But because for a lot of people, their English is not good, and I try to translate as good as I can. So, dieses Pad hat zwei verschiedene Seiten, einmal die graue und einmal die blaue. Die blaue Seite ist ein klassisches Mikrofaser, um Öl zu absorbieren. Und auf der anderen Seite ist praktisch ist eine Art Chemie. Im Prinzip, wenn man da drüber fährt, ist das wie so kleine Nadeln. Und im Prinzip kriegt man damit den ganzen Gummidreck weg, den so die Bahnen und die ganzen Rückläufe und so abgeben an den Ball. Und dadurch verändert man aber die Oberfläche nicht. Wenn man das jetzt runterschleifen würde, würde auch gehen, aber dann würde ich die Oberfläche verändern, was nicht mehr erlaubt ist während dem Spielen. Das heißt, man kann das verwenden während dem Spielen und kriegt den ganzen Gummi weg. Und dafür ist es recht gut geeignet, kann man nur empfehlen und wird es auch bei uns bald geben. So, Clemens ask, wenn er für ein Jahr nur einen Ball werfen dürfte, welcher würde er auswählen? Er kann ihn aber so oft wie er will haben in diesem Jahr. Also aus allen Bällen von 1900 bis 2020. So that's a funny question. If you could choose one ball for 1 year, which one you would choose from all of the balls from 1900 to 2020? And you can drill it as often as you want in this year.
IQ Tour. Storm IQ Tour.
So the regular one, the IQ Tour, the black one.
Yep. And the reason is simple. So that bowling ball, we have offers a very predictable motion. It can be drilled a lot of different ways because it's a very, very simple shape. And you can surface it to make it hook earlier when you need it to be for heavier oil, or you can polish it and it will be a much weaker product, polished, which you may need for dry island conditions. So if I had to pick one bowling ball for a year, and I could drill a bunch of them or whatever, that'd probably be the piece. And I'd pick that over High Road, only because I think High Road overall is inherently a weaker piece, meaning it would go longer inherently than the IQ Tour. And I think with the IQ Tour I can do a little more versatility.
Okay, also Clemens, die Frage beantwortet, IQ Tour wär's, und dadurch, dass der IQ Tour ein bisschen stärker ist wie der High Road und der bisschen vielseitigere Ball und er so viel ändern kann aufgrund des Layouts und der Oberfläche, würde er den IQ Tour nehmen. So, dann komme ich zur nächsten Frage. Wie lange halten eigentlich die TrueCut Pads? Beziehungsweise sie halten ja länger als alle anderen, weil sie nicht mit dem Staub füllen. Oder was kann man tun, dass sie länger halten? So this is an actually interesting question. How long does a TrueCut pad last? Because they should last longer as the other ones, because the dust goes inside, doesn't go inside because it goes through the pad, as I understand it, right? So what do you think, how long lasts the TrueCut pad?
Right, so the TrueCut pad is going to be 3 to 4 times longer than an Avalon pad, and then there's two real reasons. The first reason is that you don't have to use the TrueCut pad as long. So as an example, let's say you're sanding the ball with the ball spinner, and you typically would go, let's say, up and down. You know, when you're sanding the ball, you'd go up and down, let's say 4 times, an example, per side. With the TrueCut pad, you would do that half as long, 2 times, and get just as much cut. Also, because of the TrueCut pads and the way they are, you can skip those grits. So you won't have to use the pads. You don't have to use as many pads to be able to get to the final grit you're looking to get to. And then last but not least, at the point you touched on, where the TrueCut pad has a weave in it where the dust can go into the pad and it has somewhere to go. Because of that, you're going to be able to get a much cleaner cut, and it's going to be a much more effective cut, which is really the key. That was, like I said, that when we were developing these, we said we want these to cut bowling balls. I don't care about cutting cars. I don't care about cutting aluminum. I want to cut bowling balls and the properties of bowling balls. So we specifically went to our manufacturer to have them help us to build a pad that would cut bowling balls to the level that we were looking to get it to cut.
Also,
which will make the pad unique.
Yeah, that's true. Also die Pads sind praktisch erstens länger, 2 to 3 times longer, right?
3 to 4.
Also 3 bis 4 Mal länger haltbar als jetzt zum Beispiel ein Milka Abrollo-Pad, einfach aus dem Grund, weil sie schärfer schneiden. Ich nenne es jetzt einfach mal so. Und besser cutten. Man muss nicht 4 Mal drüber schleifen, sondern es reicht 2 Mal. Man muss die unteren Pads nicht benutzen, um vorzuschleifen, sondern man kann direkt auf das Finish gehen. Und aufgrund, dass der Staub absorbiert wird im Pad und auf der anderen Seite wieder rauskommt und nicht die Schneideflächen verstopft, ist es möglich, dass es länger hält. Und er sagt 3 bis 4 Mal länger als ein Milka-Pad zum Beispiel. So, thank you. I think this was a good explanation. Maximilian says, dann muss ich, glaube mal einen Großeinkauf mit ganzen Produkten machen. Ja, kein Problem, du weißt ja, wo wir sind, wenn wieder offen ist. Ansonsten www.meinbowlingshop.de. Und by the way, an die 50 Leute, die gerade zuschauen, abonnieren, nicht vergessen und die Glocke drücken. So, subscribing and ring the bell is important.
Yes, it is.
Dann Leroux. Is two-handed bowling better than one-handed? I might change.
I saw that question. It's in English.
Yes. Ist Zweihand-Bowling besser als Einhand-Bowling, ist die Frage.
I think it's a function of which you're able to repeat more. I think that from a power standpoint, you can generate arguably more power two-handed, but I think it's a much harder game to learn and a much harder game to execute consistently. So I really believe that it's a function of you as the individual. As an example, we all could agree Jason Belmonte is phenomenal at being able to throw the ball two-handed, but we could also agree that E.J. Tackett is a phenomenal bowler at throwing it one-handed, and both of them are probably pretty close on the power scale. So what it comes down to, I think, is being able to be able to be consistent at whatever you do, two-handed or one-handed.
Yeah, Norm Duke is also pretty good.
Yeah, Norm Duke's phenomenal. His rev rate's a third of theirs, so absolutely.
Yeah. Also er sagt, dass Zweihand-Bowling oder Einhand-Bowling ist, es geht eigentlich mehr darum, was kann man öfter wiederholen und öfter machen. Also jetzt nur auf dem Standpunkt zu wechseln, ich wechsle jetzt auf zwei Hände, weil Jason Belmonte Zweihänder ist und ich damit besser werde. Es kommt darauf an, was du öfter wiederholen kannst. Das ist ziemlich zusammengefasst, das, was er gerade gesagt hat. Dann ich glaube auch, wie Thomas das gerade schreibt, dass es je nachdem, was man besser kann. Hallo Julian, Servus. Mashup ist auch wieder da, Servus. Julian asked a question. Who's the best bowler on the tour at the moment? Also er fragt, wer ist der beste Spieler im Moment auf Tour?
Well, you're asking me who I think the best bowler is?
Yes, on tour at the moment.
I mean, I think it's hard to argue with Jason Belmonte. I mean, yeah. He's definitely making a case for not only the best bowler on tour, but maybe the best bowler ever. So it's pretty tough to be able to argue that case right now.
Yep. So that's the next question: who's the GOAT? So that's pretty much. There are not a lot of players who are pretty much the greatest of all time. So there are just 3 or 4 players in mind, like Earl Anthony and Jason is pretty much inside this discussion. Also Walter Ray.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a funny question from Mashup. Mir stellt sich folgende Frage: Wo sind eure Haare? Here's a question: Where are all your hairs?
So look, this is a funny story. So actually, I typically am bald. So the fact that I have some hair, is very unique for me. I'll show you. Maybe you can't see it there. You can actually see some of the hair there. So yeah, I mean, it's actually, we have a staff, and our staff is like, man, like you're getting all hairy. What's going on? And I'm like, it's different. It's just a different time right now. So typically I am bald. And at some point, this will become annoying to me, and I probably will shave it off. But for the time being, I guess I'm just kind of embracing the the Corona situation and not even shaving my head.
Yeah. It was pretty much different for me because I can't go to a barber because they're all closed. So I told my wife, hey, you have to cut it now. So we go, and she was like, oh no, I cannot do that. Oh yeah, you can. Now you have to.
Nice.
So, dann kommen wir zur nächsten Frage. So, we go to the next question. Man muss halt auch bedenken, wie viel Belmonte an seinem Stil arbeitet, egal wie viel er gewonnen arbeitet und weiter. He says, we all have to think about how much effort Belmonte puts into his game and how much he worked for his success. And that's true. You see him evolve every year. That's crazy. He's so consistent. It's crazy. Leroux asks, which bowling brand is really the best to pick from? I own Brunswick. Should I change balls? What I said in my last stream was you should pick the best out of each brand. You shouldn't stay with one brand, as if you not get paid from them.
That's 100% what we say.
Yeah. Okay.
100% spot on. If unless you're being paid for. So here, I used to design bowling balls. So not only was I only throwing one brand, but I was throwing the brand that I actually designed. And I would tell you to this day, once I was able to see everybody's bowling balls and throw everybody's bowling balls, I would always recommend that you have some from everybody, because each company has certain bowling balls that are really, really great. And you should have bits and pieces from each of them unless you're being paid for them, unless you're being paid by them.
Ja, also die Frage auf Deutsch war jetzt nochmal, welches Bowling-Brand ist das Beste? Er hat jetzt Brunswick-Bälle und ob er Bälle wechseln sollte. Und er ist eigentlich meiner Meinung, sowohl Ron als auch ich sagen, jede Firma hat gute und schlechte Bälle und man sollte sich die Rosinen rauspicken und die besten von jedem Brand nehmen, wenn man nicht dafür bezahlt wird von dem jeweiligen Brand. Jens ask a question. Servus an alle, wie kann man sein Mental Game verbessern? He says hello and how can he practice his mental game?
So hello, I thank you for joining. And I think what I tell people when you want to practice mental game techniques, what you should try, right, is go to practice and set up some mental goals or some goals for you. So, a mental goal may be, you know what, I'm going to try to throw 3 strikes in a row here. And then think about what's going on as you're doing that, as an example. Do you feel a little nervous? Are you thinking more about the execution than the process? And I think, because that's where a lot of people get confused, is when they are in pressure situations, which is typically very, very mental, they deviate from their process. They quit doing whatever they normally do. So I think a lot of it is understanding and doing that. And the only way you get past that is just to practice it. So you can practice it. You can practice it at home while you're at home. You could be like, okay, so if this is my setup, how I would normally set up, I would grab my ball, I grab my towel, I grab my ball, I wipe my ball off, then I set up in the stance. You could do that in your living room without actually going anywhere, without actually throwing the ball. You could go through that process and just practice it. I'm going to practice doing these 3 things 20 times in a row and just get more familiar, more comfortable with being able to get into that pre-shot routine.
Like a pre-shot, yeah, I would say a pre-shot routine. Also er sagt, dass man mehr Wert drauf legen sollte, um sein Mental Game zu verbessern, auf den Weg und nicht auf die Ausführung, sondern eine Routine in das Spiel reinbringen. Und da muss man auch nicht auf der Bowlingbahn sein, sondern kann auch zu Hause das machen und einfach zum Beispiel 20 Mal über den Ball wischen, wenn man das möchte. Oder einfach eine Routine reinbringen und dann kann man sein Mental Game damit verbessern. Weil viele vergessen unter Druck, dass der Weg das Ziel ist. Sage ich jetzt mal ganz klugscheißerisch. Ich hoffe, damit haben wir deine Frage beantwortet, Jens. So, Clemens fragt, was ist sein Lieblingsprodukt bei CTD? Oh, that's a funny question. What is your favorite product at creating the difference?
So So I think right now my favorite product is probably the Clear followed by DryPad Pro. So I'm going to tell you why. So I say the Clear because the Clear truly is different, and the fact that no other manufacturer has a product like that and can bring your bowling ball back to the performance of the from out of the factory. No other manufacturer can do that. I say DryPad Pro second only because DryPad Pro is really different from the standpoint that it offers the bowler something to get those black marks off your ball, and everybody has black marks on their bowling ball. So I'm really, really excited about that one. The only reason that it's not first is because we're with the situation being what it is. We're not being able to sell a whole bunch of them. But right before this whole thing hit, that pad was flying off the shelf. So I'm really excited when we get back to bowling, let people to see that one too.
Ja, also sein Lieblingsprodukt ist der Clear, weil das einfach dazu da ist, um einen Ball wieder zurückzubringen, zum Leben zu erwachen. Und sein zweiter Favorit ist das Pad Pro. What's the exact name of the Pad Pro?
That's it, CTD DryPad Pro.
DryPad Pro. So, das ist sein zweiter Favorit. Aber das ist nur zweiter, weil es noch nicht so lange auf dem Markt ist und die Leute das noch nicht so sehen konnten, wie er schon gesehen hat. So, Löro fragt, wie viele 7-10 Splits habt ihr beide genommen? So he asked, how many 7-10 splits you convert? I did twice.
So, forever?
Yeah.
So I've made the 7-10 once. I made it one time.
Ja, so me too. Also er hat ihn
It's a lucky bounce.
Yes, it is. Also er hat ihn einmal geräumt, ich habe ihn zweimal geräumt. Mashup, I have the same problem here. So Mashup has the same problem with the hair. So. Maximilian fragt, wie ist er zu seinem früheren Job gekommen, Bowlingbälle zu designen? So Maximilian asked, how did you come to your job to create bowling balls, to design bowling balls?
So I met a bowling ball designer at a very early age. I was about 14 when I met a bowling ball designer, and thought he was really cool. He had three things that I thought were really unique. One, he had a medallion that he wore, and the medallion he got from the company when they had sold 100,000 balls, and he was making $5 a ball. Two, he said he had to travel all over the world and got to meet a lot of cool people as a result of that. And then three, this is kind of weird. Go ahead.
So you meet a guy who was bowling ball designer, right?
Yeah, it was Mo Pinel.
Mo Pinel, okay.
Yep.
Now I got it.
And the last thing was he had a really cool watch. And I was like, man, that's a really cool watch. And I was like, one day I want to have me a really cool watch like that. So those three things were what kind of led me down the path that I went on. I went to school, got a degree in engineering, and specifically went right out of school and started designing bowling balls at Ebonite.
Okay. Also, what is your watch right now?
So I don't have a watch, right? So I don't have a watch, which is funny because this is a funny story. So when I graduated college, I said I wanted to get me a watch, and it was a Movado. He had a Movado watch. So I went and got a Movado watch, and within about a year and a half, I lost it. And I was so devastated by that loss that I was like, well, I'm never going to buy another watch again because I lost this expensive Movado watch. So literally for my birthday, which was about a month ago, I went to the store looking for a Movado watch, and they have a Movado watch. So I said, so now my goal, this is what I said, my goal before my next birthday is to own the new version of a Movado watch.
Okay. So I translate now everything. I hope I can do it. Also als er 14 war, hat er einen Bowlingball-Designer getroffen namens Mo Pinel. Und der hat ihm dann erzählt, dass seine Firma, wo er Bowlingbälle designt, 100.000 Bälle verkauft hat und er $5 pro Ball Provision gekriegt hat. Und er hatte eine gute Uhr an. Und deswegen hat er beschlossen, Bowlingball-Designer zu werden als 14-Jähriger. Hat dann einen Abschluss gemacht und einen Ingenieur und ist dann direkt ins Bowlingball-Design-Geschäft gegangen und hat dort Füße gefasst. So, then next questions. I don't get these questions. It's English. I think he used the CTD DryPad Pro towel on his head because he had no bowling towels left for the test while developing the unique surface of it. I don't get it. Okay, next one. I'm actually a fan a huge fan of Ron. I really love your video reels. They are the best on YouTube. Your channel, Manuel, is great too. Yeah.
Ah, thank you.
So,
thank you.
All subscribers from Ron, come over to me and subscribe here too.
Yeah, well, we're on your page, so they definitely should be subscribed to you for sure.
Yeah. So, Jojo Junge, at the beginning I thought I always would play with Storm balls because of the nice colors, but when I look into my bowling bag, I see Storm, Columbia 300, Brunswick and Hammer. Yeah, that's true.
That's good.
And Jojo Junge is my customer.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Ja,
that's really
also Jojo Junge sagt im Prinzip dasselbe, Logo wie wir auch. Nimm die Sahnestücke von jedem Brand. Dann Bruno, werden polierte Bälle durch das Pad Pro beschädigt, beziehungsweise wird die Politur dabei vom Ball entfernt? So the question is, are polished ball from the Pad Pro be sanded, or does the surface of the ball change with this pad? And or will the polish be removed because of this pad?
No, so the Dry Pad Pro doesn't change the surface of the ball at all. So a polished ball stays polished, a sanded ball stays sanded, and that's the reason you can use it during competition is because it does not change the surface of the ball. The bristles are made to break up the scuff mark, but they were not abrasive enough to change the surface of the ball.
Ja, also Bruno, das Pad verändert die Oberfläche nicht. Und deswegen ist es auch erlaubt, während des Wettkampfs zu benutzen. Also es verändert einfach die Oberfläche nicht. Thomas Hartl says, Storm has the advantage of having a fragrance. That's true. At the end of the day, this smell from Storm balls are actually a selling point for a lot of customers. I don't know how it is in the States, but I see it more and more here.
Yep, I would agree with that. It is a selling point here too.
Yep. Also, dann habe ich noch eine Facebook-Frage. Die letzte Facebook-Frage habe ich jetzt noch übrig. Warum sollte man Fingereinsätze ändern? Ich spiele zum Beispiel Powerlift und da würde ich jetzt sagen, wann sollte man Powerlift, wann sollte man Ovale, wann sollte man Power Oval spielen? So the question is, when do you use what kind of finger insets? Power Oval, Oval, Powerlift, what do you recommend and what do you think is the best?
So I'm a big fan of the ovals, primarily because I believe that you can, if you're trying to create more revolutions, you can adjust the angle of the hole, the pitch of the hole to create that. You don't need the lift per se to do that. I believe that the lift, in a lot of cases, can actually work against you from a performance side of things, because if your finger doesn't bend at that angle, then you're not going to be able to get a full feel of the grip itself. So I'm a big fan of the ovals. And then using the pitch to match your finger to get you the maximum amount of revs.
Ja, also das ist praktisch dieselbe Antwort, die ich auch gegeben habe. Er sagt auch, er ist ein großer Fan von den ovalen Einsätzen, weil die Lift-Einsätze eigentlich mehr schädigen, als sie gut tun. Und man kann viel mehr verändern noch mit den ovalen Einsätzen. Jens Oliver, wie pflegt man seinen Spareball, ist die Frage. So the next question is, Jens, how to maintain the spare ball?
So maintaining your spare ball definitely requires you to use the polish, right? So we've got the TrueCut hand applied polish that was made with turtle wax.
I will show it now into the camera. Here it is. It's a small bottle, eine kleine Flasche.
Yep, and I think that's key, right? Because the problem with spare balls is they're supposed to go straight, and over time and use, they wear out and they begin to hook. So using the polish with the polishing pad on the spare ball every 20, 30 games will keep that spare ball going straight, which is what you want it to do. Okay,
also im Prinzip den Ball regelmäßig polieren oder polieren lassen. Wenn du es selber machen willst mit der Hand, gibt es dieses Turtle Wax, wird es demnächst bei uns im Online-Shop zur Verfügung stehen und wird es demnächst geben. Das beantwortet auch gleichzeitig die Frage von Bruno. Ziemlich zügig wird es alles bei uns im Online-Shop geben, meinbowlingshop.de. Ich gehe mal davon aus, sobald das mit dem Corona hier vorbei ist, werden wir alles auf Lager haben. I just explained to the people when the whole Corona thing is over, we will have all the products in our store, meinbowlingshop.de, and offer them to all of you. So, haben wir denn noch irgendwelche Fragen? I'm just asking if there are some questions. So, I have one last product, and that's, ich habe noch ein Produkt, über was wir noch gar nicht geredet haben. I have one product that we don't talk today, until now, and that is the So Fresh and So Clean and the Scuff Mark Remover. And the best thing, besides the performance, is the smell of So Fresh and So Clean. I love it. So, you told me it's just together good. The Scuff Mark Remover with the So Fresh and So Clean. So tell me, what is the difference on this or what does it do?
So the So Fresh So Clean by itself is actually a bowling ball life extender. Think of it like a milder version of the Clear. It's meant to go in and then leave a tackifier in your ball, leave your bowling ball, make your bowling ball tucky for about 6 games. The Scuff Mark Remover, when you use those two in combination with each other, that is by far the most efficient way to remove anything off of a bowling ball from a scuff mark or dirt standpoint. The Scuff Mark Remover, unlike the Dry Pad Pro, is mildly abrasive with the combination of the So Fresh So Clean. So it will get rid of any of the dirt and grime or anything left over from your bowling ball when you can't clean your bowling ball during competition. So definitely Dry Pad Pro during competition, because you can use it during competition and it doesn't change the surface of the ball. But using that Scuff Mark Remover and So Fresh So Clean after you're done bowling or before you're bowling will definitely get anything that's residual off and out of your bowling ball and leave your bowling ball tucky for about 6 games. And it does smell pretty good.
Okay, so I tried to get this in German. Also im Prinzip ist es egal was du auf dem Ball hast, das wäre im Prinzip alleine für 6 Spiele nötig, aber mit dem zusammen hält es einfach länger und macht den Ball wieder richtig frisch und kann sehr gut verwendet werden, um oberflächliche Sachen zu reinigen. Kann man auch nur empfehlen, also wir benutzen es selber im Shop auch. Maximilian fragt, gibt es eine Möglichkeit, dass er mal nach Deutschland kommt und einen Workshop macht mit den Produkten? Ja, er war da. You were here 3 weeks ago, right?
I was.
Yeah, the question that Maximilian, is there an opportunity that you come to Germany for a workshop with all the products? So actually he did 3 weeks ago with me. It was a personal workshop with me. But we can work something out with making something happen, also with a seminar or something like this. Also wir werden da mit Sicherheit dran arbeiten und vielleicht ist da was möglich. So now we are waiting for 1 or 2 minutes for more questions, if there are some questions. Also wenn ihr Fragen habt, dann wäre jetzt der Zeitpunkt, diese zu stellen. Auf jeden Fall ist es mir eine Ehre, mit Ronald hier sprechen zu dürfen und ich bedanke mich auch schon mal jetzt, dass er hier war. So it's we're actually waiting for 1 or 2 minutes if there are any more questions coming in. It's an honor for us that you were talking to us and having given us the time here for being our guest in our channel. And yeah.
I definitely appreciate the opportunity. You're doing a really good job over there, and it was really cool to meet you and see the Bowling Center and hang out with you guys for some time, and Marco as well. So it was a very good host. So I definitely would like to come back to Germany and spend some time with you guys, and looking forward to doing a lot of business with you once we get past all this coronavirus stuff.
Yeah, hopefully we will strike out Corona.
Absolutely.
Yes. Also, dann, liebe Leute, ich bedanke mich bei euch, dass ihr da wart. Eine Frage. So, there is one more.
Okay.
No, he's this mashup guy. That was the guy with the hair.
Oh, okay.
He asked, I had one more question. How are you?
We're doing good.
There's one more. That's the last question for today. Maximilian asked, are you playing also active with League? Did you play on tour, or are you more like a product designer?
So I do bowl competitively. I bowl tournaments. I've bowled some professional tournaments in the past. I don't currently, but I definitely bowl League now. I still bowl competitive tournaments now still as well. So definitely an active bowler for sure.
Okay. So, as I said before, there's one more. Eine Pre-Shot-Routine habe ich bereits, jedoch versagt trotzdem der Kopf in der Bundesliga. Aber das weißt du ja, Manu, wie kann das trotzdem noch besser werden? There's one guy with the pre-shot, with the mental game. He asked before. He has a pre-shot routine, but especially in the league, his head is going crazy, and he don't know pretty much how to make this thing working better.
Okay, I'll give you a little tip. One of the things that I found to work for me that you can try is by singing. So when you're on, so here's what it comes down to, right? When you're on the approach and you start to go through the process, you don't want to be thinking about anything. It's kind of like when you're dancing. When you're dancing with somebody, you're not thinking about the steps. You're not going 1 step, 2 step, 1 step. You're not doing that. You're just moving, right? You're just moving to the music. So it's the same kind of concept. So one thing you may try, I've done this successfully in the past, is get on the approach. You're sitting up, you set up, and then start singing. And you can sing out loud. Now, nobody behind you is going to hear you because the bowling alley is loud and you're facing the wrong direction. But you singing will hopefully allow you to quiet the mind and allow you just to execute the shot. So that's something you can try when next time you get nervous. Just go up there, set up, and then just start singing your favorite song.
That's a cool idea. I make different. I go into a rope. I put a rope, open it with my hand, and go inside another room. So that's how I do it. Jens, ich hoffe, du hast verstanden, was er gesagt hat. Ansonsten, er schlägt vor, deinen Lieblingssong zu singen, während du auf dem Anlauf stehst und loslaufen willst, weil du wie beim Tanzen denkst du dir auch nicht Schritt 1, Schritt 2, Schritt 3, sondern du bewegst dich einfach zu Musik. Und er sagt, dass du dich damit leichter tust, und das kann ich auch nur bestätigen, ich würde es ähnlich machen. Also mit Singen ist es nicht schlecht. Ich gehe zum Beispiel durch einen Vorhang durch, mental. Also da gibt es viele Wege. Und ja, ich sage auf jeden Fall vielen, vielen Dank für alle Zuschauer, die jetzt hier zugeschaut haben. Ihr findet natürlich das Video noch später auf YouTube auf unserem Kanal. Abonnieren nicht vergessen, Glocke drücken. And Ronald, thank you very much for being our guest. And I appreciate your time. And hopefully we can do this again somewhere, sometime. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Manuel, for having me on. I appreciate all the questions and look forward to coming back to Germany, hanging out with you guys. And thank you, everybody who's watching the live stream as well. This was a lot of fun for us.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Danke, Leute. Ich wünsche euch einen ganz, ganz tollen Tag. Bis dahin. Tschüss.
Tschüss.
So, das war's dann. Ich wünsche euch eine schöne Zeit. Bis dahin, bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss.